Kampala. Now let's take a look at our top stories.
The government of Uganda says more money is needed.
The sun and its fury on the Sukuma Wiki plant.
And we'll have a live report from Xanadu Collections.
Thank you very much and welcome. Now taking a look into the world of climate change and disaster risk preparedness, the government says that they need more funding if they're going to be able to handle the matter. However, their counterparts in Germany in policy making believe to have a different idea. Craig reports.
Climate change is one of the greatest challenges facing humanity this century, and as a global challenge, it requires global solutions. The threat of climate change is multidimensional, and its impacts transcend national borders.
You have a lot more sunshine, and you can do much more with solar energy than we can do up in the north. So the recommendation, I think, very clearly is to do as much as possible through renewable energies. You are blessed with water power. Hydropower is something that Uganda has like almost no other country.
Though Uganda only produces 0.09% of global pollution that causes climate change, it is a major victim of it. And though there is legislation in place to try and mitigate climate change and its impacts, a lot more could be done by the government.
The policies are being worked on, but what is most important is to obtain the necessary resourcing that will ensure that policies don't just remain on paper, but that they can actually be practical and implemented.
The old English adage goes that the grass suffers while the elephants fight. This has proven to be true for the case of Uganda, that suffers the consequences of her overseas counterparts in terms of climate change. However, all is not lost, for stern implementation of existing legislation alongside adaptation of countermeasures could just be the stitching time that saves 9 for Uganda. Reporting for the UC Focus, I am Craig Barigje.
Our reporter David was in Mukono this week and met a Sukuma Wiki grower whose vegetables have suffered the wrath of the sun.
According to World Geography, climate change refers to the long-term shift in the weather change patterns today. The climate change has affected the world in various ways and in very many sectors, but our basic sector of interest is going to be the agricultural sector around our community in Mukono today. The climate change has affected the agricultural community in different ways, and this impact has either been positive or negative. The impact of the climate change activities on agriculture sector has mainly affected the activities of the local farmers around the suburbs of Mukono.
As a farmer, for me who deals with the Sukuma Wiki and the banana plantation, the soybean, carrots, it affects me when it is too much, especially carrots and the Sukuma Wiki. Bananas, they're okay, you can get a good head, but Sukuma Wiki, it dries. You can even see this disease here. Yes. I think it is too much water.
Therefore, adaptation measures need to be considered on how to reduce climate stocks to small-scale farmers and increase in the productivity rate to favor the local farmers around. Reporting for UCU Focus, I'm David Ijo.
Well, thank you very much, David. Now, looking at the involvement of the Fourth Estate in the matters of climate change and disaster risk preparedness, we have our reporter who is live at the Xanadu Collections, where the Media Challenge Expo is currently happening under the same theme. David, tell us what's on the ground.
Thank you, Kainan. I'm live at Xanadu Collections here, where the Media Challenge Expo has been taking place since Friday, with various discussion on the panels basing on the theme of reporting on climate change and disaster risk reductions in Uganda and Africa at large. 12 institutions have made it to the expo today, and as you can see, competitions are taking place in various categories such as news anchoring, news reporting, and as my cameraman can show you, the mood here is quite tense as the students look forward to feedback from the judges. Well, I'm standing next to Miss Anika, one of the officials of the Media Challenge initiatives here. Ms. Anika, can you kindly tell us why you chose the theme climate change?
We know that Uganda is really being affected by climate change, especially in the agricultural sector, but it's really hard for journalists to communicate these issues because they're seen as scientific or very complex. So our goal is really to help young journalists know how to communicate climate change issues to improve the public's knowledge.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you there, David. We will have to cut you short for now due to the interest of time. However, we will be getting back to you a little later.
In an effort to preserve the environment, the public has been called upon to take care of waste by Joseph Omodeng, the head housekeeping, Xanadu Suites and Collections. This was at the 2019 panel discussion. Junior Kasango has the story in detail.
In an article dated 20th February 2019 by the New Vision, over 7,500 tons of plastic waste are used in the capital city, that is Kampala. A staggering statistic that depicts how much waste is choking this city of 7 hills. In such conditions, private hotels like Xanadu are doing their part in ridding off the city of this scourge.
Our garbage room where we collect all the garbage for the hotel. When we collect from the kitchen, when we collect from the rooms, when we collect from all where we have the dustbins, we have a cleaning company that comes.
With the assistance of private cleaning companies, plastic waste like bottles, polythene bags and many more are disposed in the right way. A move that is highly welcomed by the members of society.
The way people dispose of their garbage has done a lot to climate change in Africa. I would advise that people come up with innovative ideas that look at how to recycle these boveras and plastics that keep damaging our environment.
Waste management is difficult for a human being like me. By the way, did you know that when you employ professional waste managers, they help you dispose this waste in a particular place and treat it so that does not destroy your climate? Kasanga Sri Jr. reporting for UC.
While discussing the panelist table organized by the Media Challenge Initiative and Xanadu Collections, during one of the issues deliberated upon was the impact of technology on climate change, and Ruth Kamanzi was on ground to capture the story.
Population in Uganda is driven by rapid urbanization and population growth in urban areas. Uganda's contaminated air is characterized by smoke from car exhaust, industries, residential trash burning, road dust, and soot from indoor biomass-fueled cookstoves for cooking. Nonetheless, the government continues to provide non-gas emitting technologies that use renewable energy, both viable to rural and urbanized areas.
If you produced, you brought like trains or buses that can help to take people out of the city without congestion, because we lose a lot of money and people's health by relying on polluting cars. So that's the kind of technology which we need in this country.
Constance Okolet, farmer and women's representative from Tororo, sang praises to the non-gas emitting technologies which the Ugandan government has been supplying in both rural and urban.
Giving us bulls, is giving us tractors, is giving us to make things go very fast. Yes. Because when you you prepare early, you plant early, you weed early, you harvest.
Technology is said to have been the basis upon which greenhouse emissions are trapped in our atmosphere today. However, through advancement, these same technologies are the vehicles that are driving awareness and sensitization about the seriousness of climate change and disaster risk reduction. Ruth Kamanzi, UCU Focus.
Well, thank you very much, Kamanzi. Now, sadly, looking into the world of business, many agro-based farmers have suffered a lot of loss this year due to the nation's climatic change. Edward Chiari Gonza, one of the farmers, is but a symbol of many other farmers who have suffered in the fall of wild, heavy rains. Shivan tells us the story.
Agriculture's major role is to ensure food security, but happens to be the most vulnerable to climate change due to its high dependence on climate and weather. Edward Chaligonza, a commercial farmer who specifically deals in fruit farming, based in Nakasero Market, has been a victim of the heavy downpours that come with floods and running water.
Nnyo anga n'ebimwe maali waliwo weegenda nga lwe badde nnyingi kati ng'eno nga wanera ekulukuta n'okulukuta.
Chigezi Coffee Development Academy Chief Executive Officer Joshua Rukundo has stressed that Uganda earns most of its revenue from the agricultural sector, which makes it a sensitive area that cannot be ignored.
Over 70% of Uganda's revenue is either directly or indirectly connected to agriculture. It means Uganda is going to lose about 10 to 15%. Use the good agronomic practices to ensure that actually what we want to achieve in the long run is made.
Climate change is a global problem that requires a global solution. Just like business operations are important, it is also quite imperative to note that climatic conditions can be both disastrous and a blessing to the day-to-day activities that business owners carry out. Well, I, for one, I choose to use an umbrella for a rainy day. Reporting for UCU, I am Shivan Auma.
Well, thank you very much. That's all we had for you today in the news. But as always, you can always find more information on our social media platforms. And that is at UCU Focus on Facebook.
And on Instagram, we're UCU Focus Live.
And at Twitter, we are UCU Focus still. But before we leave, Sylvia, you mentioned a very interesting quote in the beginning of our session.
Oh, that's taken from what astronaut Thomas Pesquet said after seeing the devastation wreaked by the effects of climate change while aboard the International Spaceship Station. He said, Earth has to travel sensibly, be maintained, and looked after properly, or its voyage is going to come to an end.
Well, I believe that we can effect a lot of change, and the media can be the beginning of that.
Have a lovely evening.
A round of applause for Team UCU. How are you guys feeling?